Well, okay. It's morning and I'm not quite awake yet, but let's change our oil today. To be able to go through and just kind of give your bike a once over, kind of gets you a chance you get underneath it. Kind of see what your oil looks like, just kind of the general health of your bike. So I like to do it. First thing to do, and I like this best because it's a nice day out. It's about 65 degrees here in the little Phoenix Valley, in Santan Valley, and I'm gonna go for a ride. So kind of warm the bike up first. Read online that the quickest way to blow up a perfectly good engine is to use one of these. So, what the hell? Let's do it. So that's part's done. Lucas Oil, I got them. I think my favorite football team played in a stadium named after these guys. And so I thought, what the heck? Looked like a nice stadium. Got to think the oil's pretty good. It's 2050 weight oil. And quite frankly, I got it at AutoZone. It was half the price of Harley oil. And this was like 49 cents cheaper than the brand that I was looking at in the cart. So it says it's got everything you need to make it good. I'm sure that will blow up my engine as well at some point, and I'm making the wrong choice. But anyway, there we go. And then this stuff. This is the cult I'm in. I use this stuff in my Mini. It's I think it's pink. Well, it should be if I bought the right stuff. Yeah, it's the pink stuff. I love this stuff. Been using it for years. It goes. I just think it shifts good. I like how it feels. So anyway, like that. We're here. Bike is now warmed up. Did about 30, 40 miles. Enough to make the transmission kind of heated up a little bit. Helps it drain a bit. And then grab a 5-inch socket. Doesn't have to be a deep one. You can, and then we'll get underneath the bike, drop our oil, and go to town. This engine oil is the front one. Here's what I do: is I go ahead and loosen that one up first. Drain my oil. Here's why I do them separately. I want to be able to see what I got in that oil. If it comes out I don't want to, if I want to check my contaminants individually. Let's say I got, metal shavings in there. I don't want to know that I have maybe metal shavings in my tranny or whatever, even though that's probably not going to happen. But be fairly hot, so put your big boy pants on. Get a little burnage. Sometimes people use gloves. I just, whatever. It's not that bad. Then usually what I'll do, you see how it kind of does that? Let me show you something. If you open up your the dipstick on your bike, it'll let that crankcase breathe. Yeah, see, then it opens up a bit. So anyway, do that one first, and then we'll check that, and then come back and do the transmission. So here's also one thing you're going to probably want to check on this. I don't know if you can see that or if that'll focus in. Bottom of your drain plug. Oh, not too good. Let's get down where you can see it. The bottom of your drain plug, it's got a little metal magnet. It's got a magnet at the very bottom of it. And sometimes you'll see, and I've had this a lot, especially maybe sometimes when you're breaking them in, you'll see a little bit of some shavings on there. What you don't want to see is big stuff. You don't want to see, you want to see, if anything, it's going to be very, very fine. And, you can kind of tell by looking at it. What that is just metal shavings. It's just a magnet picks them up so they don't go through your engine. So pretty common, but kind of look for that. If this thing is pretty big, you've got quite a bit, then there's something to kind of consider. But for the most part, I just check that, set it aside. Here's the other thing. A lot of people go through and change these O-rings every single time. I go through and inspect them. I don't do it every single time. I got a toolbox full of them. They're pretty good. They just go in, and then they screw out. It's not like they're whatever. So it's a good idea if you got it. Pop a new O-ring on there. If not, no big deal. Just make sure it's not damaged. You want to have a good engine seal. And they're cheap to get. So one of the things, I'll pull my pan out, take a look at it. Usually, when it's draining, you'll, I don't know, sometimes you'll see, I've drained these before, and I've seen like streaks of silver in there. I don't see anything. This looks really good. So, okay, now what we'll do is drain that tranny. Try to do this without dropping the plug in because I hate fishing it out. But it's not a big deal. Okay. Then I just let that drain. You sometimes put the bike up on the center stand just to kind of get it all out, or not center stand, but just so don't hold it up. But it's not a big deal. Just let it drain. I'm usually at this point not in a fairly big rush, so let her do its thing. Okay, one of the things that's important to note when you put your drain plugs back in, those two bolts, you're going to want two things. At least a 10-inch breaker bar. Okay? And some blue Loctite. Don't use the red. It's a little too strong. But yes, a breaker bar and some Loctite. No, not at all. Don't do that. Put the damn thing on just tight, like snug, and maybe a hair more. Get that thing off. It's not going to come out. So anyway, we're here on the filter side of stuff. If you've done this right, you didn't put the filter on too damn tight. And you should be able to get it off fairly easily. And I haven't, so let's get a different wrench. Oh, sorry. And that is plastic. I don't even know why this is in my toolbox. this thing is the Old Faithful. This is the old band ratchet strap. They suck. But if this won't get them off, then you got to go to pretty much plan D, which is hammer a screwdriver through the top of it. I got no damn idea what that thing is. So some people say put, this is always the way I would talk, put a little oil on the outside of the filter. It doesn't have to be much. Anyway. Tighten this old girl up a little bit. Not much, you don't need much. Obviously, whatever I did last time. I think, quite frankly, I was probably in the garage having too many beers, and who knows what happened. The old ratchet strap strikes again. Okay, here's what's usually I do next is let's drain the primary, get that oil topped off, replaced, and then we can start filling this thing back full of oil and finish this baby up. Okay, so on the primary cover, to get it off, you're just going to need a Torx bit, T25. There's 5 of them. Again, these are ones you just want to make sure you don't put on too tight. Sometimes I'll put a little blue Loctite on them just to make sure I don't over tighten these. I've had to tap these out in the past and they really suck. So one of those things, it's T25 is just something I usually keep on the bike. So if you gotta check that periodically to keep it, make sure it's good. So to get the oil out, basically it's the same wrench you use to pull the tranny and the engine oil out. So it's that 5/8 socket. Again, I'm using a deep, but you don't need a deep. You can just use a regular one. So anyway, let that oil drain. It'll be probably a little warmish, but not hot usually. So, and then let that drain. Open up that primary cover a little bit better, and you should see it all. So. Same deal. You want to check your check the drain plug on it. Usually these will have a little bit more shavings on them, so don't get alarmed if they are. It's just what it is. So kind of an oil bath in there. So but a little bit more shavings shouldn't be a big deal unless you see something crazy. It's usually about the same amount every time. So as far as filling this, here's kind of what you want to do. On my particular bike, I need the spec show about 30. You need about 30 ounces of oil. So on this basically I went in, took that measuring cup I showed you earlier, poured out 2 ounces. It's not going to be exactly. Usually it is. Usually it'll take the full 30 ounces, and you just want it down here, just when it reaches the bottom of that pressure plate on the clutch. You don't want to get it too. If you overfill it, you can have like slippage problems and not good. And you don't want to underfill it. But honestly, it's usually 30 ounces, and that's with the bike straight up. So usually what I'll do is go ahead and fill it up. I use the same thing to make another little tool. Hell, I've had a paper plate in here before. As long as I can get the oil in, I just clean this off really good, and I pour 30 ounces of oil in. So to do your transmission, normally what I do is, my transmission, your user manual should tell you how many fluid ounces the thing should take. So my tranny on this bike, and I think on my last bike too, my other bike is a little different, but this one's 28 ounces. So there's a couple of different ways you can do this. You can either pour, this is why I have this little cup. You can pour, 28 ounces in this cup. I'm just going to pour out 4. So I'm just going to pour out 4 ounces. And then we'll just pour it in the bike. So here's your, this is my transmission plug right here. It's got kind of an Allen wrench on that socket there here. I usually keep one on the bike, but anyway. Just pour that. Pour in the pink stuff. It's like butter. It just makes it shift like butter. That looks good. I like to test them warm, so. Anyway, we'll call that good. We're going to top that off. Clean up this. And let's put some oil in. Alright, so engine oil now. One thing, make sure your funnel's clean. You know what I mean? And I just put 4 quarts in here. Sometimes it'll take a little bit more, 4 1/4. But 4 is going to get me where I need to go until I warm it up and do a warm check. And it should be good. So it looks good. So this is usually, I just turn it on and just make sure I have oil pressure. Came right up. Looks good. So now usually what I'll do is get out and just ride it. Put 10 miles on it or something, 5 miles, whatever you want. Warm it up and then come back and double check it. Usually the fluids are not too much different. Your oil though, you will lose a little bit because you have to fill your filter up. You put that filter on. So anyway, that's it. Topped the old girl off. She was basically just the amount of that empty filter, that oil filter that we had in there. I poured about that much in. Had some, I always keep a little bit of extra oil. If I down the road I need to top something off, or this bike's a newer bike, so it's pretty good. It doesn't really burn or blow any oil. So, but had some of this, same weight, not a big deal. 2050 in the first one, 2050. They're both synthetic. I don't stress that too much. If it, a name brand, whatever, I'll do it in. I have to do it on the road sometimes. I've had older bikes where, the oil doesn't quite, I can't get the oil that I bought. That was always kind of the trick with, the big, the A company, oil company, that everywhere. I couldn't always get it, so not a big deal. Mix it in, keep the same weight. Don't put dinosaur oil in with thing. Do it if you have to, if you need it to get home or whatever, if you're in a spot, but I don't really sweat it that much. So She's a good old girl. She's we just need to take her riding now, right? We need to go find somewhere. We'll put out another video here. We're just kind of getting our legs underneath us with these, quite frankly. I can ride a Harley, but man, I'm not so great with video editing and lighting and all that crap. So bear with me. We'll get her figured out and hopefully go have some fun. So anyway, enjoy the rest of your day. Happy Sunday.